This is St. Louis Bounce by Marvin Cockrell. He has a different video coming out, but this time it's a documentary. So let's talk to Marvin Cockrell and focus. It's so good to meet you, sir.
So nice to meet you. And
welcome to our listening lobby, and introduce to your trumpet player here.
Mr. Brady Lewis, trumpet extraordinaire, one of my former students from years ago who's gone on to do many things, traveling around the country and the world playing.
Tell us a little bit about this documentary that you have.
The documentary is about how I started at 7 years old and got my high school band director, the person who started me back when I was 10 years old, and just talking about the different experiences through church, through college, through first started teaching, and how a lot of songs I wrote for my students, I ended up using them professionally and recording them.
All right.
The best, just put us to the test. The beat is so loud, just like reliving in your chest. I check you dead, but I'm kinda not impressed. If you ain't doing the bounce, you need to put that dance to rest. Why? Because we bounce around from town.
Taking piano lessons at age 7. My cousin Margie Olive was my teacher, and I'd walk from there after lessons, walking right by the church that I didn't realize one day would be my starting ground for my musical career. So I'm very thankful that the members and family Pilgrim gave me that opportunity. So I'd walk along here every Saturday with my music books in hand, heading up to the bus stop to catch the bus home. So this is where it all started. So Pilgrim Temple, CME Church, thank you. God love you.
We are in the sanctuary of your childhood church. Talk to me about the experience growing up here and how it influenced your musical growth and development.
Okay. Well, everything music-wise for me started here in this church, Pilgrim Temple. I took lessons maybe a block away from my cousin, Margie Olive. And I remember she was saying, one day you're going to be able to play for Sunday school. And I had so much encouragement from Miss Smith, who was one of the choir directors, Miss Cobb, the pianist. I eventually became equipped to start playing for the church. One person I like to mention, Mr. Wally Agnew, another person that had a lot of support and kindness. He would open the church for me to come here on Saturdays or during the week to practice on the organ when I was trying to learn how to move my foot to play the organ. And he would open up the church and he'd say, hey, stay here as long as you want to, I'll be here. And he just took time.
Marvin has always been a gentle spirit, determined, unafraid to pursue his dreams. Marvin has started off playing in church, playing in the band, playing in jazz groups, teaching music in school. It's just been a pleasure to watch him grow and to pursue his dreams. When Marvin first started playing here in Pilgrim Temple, we were young kids. We literally were in the Easter plays together. Marvin would be sitting at that piano playing after Sunday school. You know, that was a tradition. Right after Sunday school, there was a wrap up and you'd have a song and he'd be over at the piano playing. And I can remember after he had played for church one Sunday, his mother and my grandmother were best friends. And their tradition was that Mrs. Cockrell would always stop by my grandmother's house after church. She'd pull up in the driveway and my mother would be over the fence rail on the porch. And my grandmother said, Marvin sure did play that piano today. And I can just see Mrs. Cockrell's face just beaming. So it's just been wonderful to see him go from that point in life, playing at the piano as a young boy, to where he is now.
Together. We went through Brown School, Raymond School, King, and then Eastside.
And even had an opportunity to play together? How did you come together as musicians?
Well, we met Mr. Nicholson, and he started teaching us music. I took the drums, so My first was a snare and a cymbal. Marvin was a little bit more talented. He had piano and he did saxophone. So we decided we were going to start a band.
How old were you?
I guess we were maybe 15, somewhere in there. Well, we started just he and I. A saxophone, snare drum, and a cymbal. And then we had a few other neighborhood friends that, you know, were into the music. And they kind of joined in later on, but we started the first of the band through Mr. Nicholson. We just kind of envied him a little bit because he was so talented. You know, he could play the piano like when we was kids.
I first met Marvin in about 4th or 5th grade. He in Brown School. Well, his progression was very swift, and I would say he had another friend, that Rollo Holloway, and they were kind of in competition with each other, and they would come to lessons, and I think Marvin would try to outplay him, and he'd try to outplay Marvin, but I think Marvin got the upper hand on him. So I've been to 2 of his concerts with this group, Focus, and I played with him in one of his groups, Focus, one time. So, yeah.
How was that? What was that experience like to play with one of your students?
Oh, it was great because he had some of his students were playing with him. So he had some of his students playing with him, and then he asked me to play with him too. So we had like 3 generations of students. He was an excellent educator in music, I would say. He could play all the instruments. He played piano and saxophone, and he was a singer. So he did all that within this one group, Focus. So I was trying to establish a jazz band, and I needed a bass player. I had all the other instruments except bass. So Marvin volunteered to be the bass player. So I didn't know he could play bass. So after I found out he hit a few licks, I said, oh yeah, you're gonna be my bass player in the band. Everything he's gonna do in music, I know he's gonna succeed very well in it.
Marvin has always, from the first time that I met him, was a mild-mannered, compassionate person about music and about teaching students and about giving back to the community. Marvin has quite a few of his students who were in junior high school who are now professional musicians as well. Like Marvin has given smooth jazz concerts for about the last 15, 16 years or so.
Yeah.
And I've been a part of all of them, I think, except for one. I'm a keyboard player with Marvin, and Marvin has played for me at my church settings when I was a minister of music at my church. Not only Marvin, but his family is compassionate about music, they're compassionate about education, they're compassionate about the community, they're compassionate about students and children. And I just love being around them, and Marvin is the catalyst for all of that.
Gregory Lewis Jr., aka G-Funk, saxophone player, and I'm one of Mr. Cockrell's former students. And I would refer to him as Mr. Cockrell to the day that I died. It's just the way that I was raised. So one of the most amazing things to me is to see someone fulfill their dreams. And I know he has a lot more to do on this earth, but from what I've seen him do in these few years, these last, 10, 15 years, is really fulfilling his dreams, and that is inspiring to me as a musician, as a man, to see this being documented and to see him put it on film, on tape, for generations to come is amazing. Pretty much got 4 generations of musicians from East St. Louis, and we did a song called 4Gs, and it was amazing. We performed it, recorded it, and it was awesome.
Mr. Cockrell, who was in the band room, doing great things with us. He wanted us to practice a lot. I knew that he was a pianist, and I love the piano. That's my first instrument, and so I gravitated toward that love.
Hi, my name is Shanna Harris. I was a student of Mr. Cockrell's. To me, he was one of the greatest teachers that I've ever had in my life. So I really appreciate him for that. Though I don't still play the instrument, it was one of the greatest times of junior high school for me. He did a great job teaching us, and then to have a song written for myself and my older sister, that was just epic. It was something that we probably didn't really grasp how good it was and how much it meant because we were so young. But now that we've gotten older and we've discussed it in the past, it was something amazing that he did for us. For one, we got to play the song because it showcased our talent, as well as people knew that he saw something in us, and he gave us the opportunity to be a part of something that we would have never, ever expected. I've never had another teacher do something so personal and great for me.
We started out at Eastside High School Band. Later in life, Marvin enlisted me in his combo, and that lasted for quite a few years. During that time, we made a couple of recordings, but we were mostly performers. Marvin is a really friendly person, easy to work with, and that's very critical among musicians. You have to be easy to work with and trustworthy. Marvin has a calming effect on people.
I was raised in East St. Louis, right down the street from Marvin Cockrell on Tudor Avenue. I've known him over 60 years. We went to the same grade school, same middle school, same high school. I played bass guitar for his garage band, and we went on later to play in high school.
What is it that makes Marvin special?
His spirit. Marvin comes from a very well-grounded background, and Marvin's always been a go-getter. Pursued excellence with his music, and every band that we worked with, he does what he was meant to do. He uses the gifts that he was given from a higher power.
When I got ready for college, I'd been playing for the church, and I was ready to go off and major in music. And I always said what was really one funny thing. I wanted to play. When I went to college, I wanted to major in music and I wanted to play. And I ended up in my first class, and the teacher asked everyone to write why they wanted to be a teacher. Why they want to be a teacher? I raised my hand. I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be a musician. I want to play. They said, well, you know what class this is? He said, Ed 101, Education 101. That means this is the ed class. These are all going to be teachers. And it just kind of dawned on me that, oh, in order to be a music major, that means you're either a super great performer or you're going to teach. So I got a lesson real quick that I was going to be a teacher. But we go from, what, in the 20, 22, 23, up to over 60 years old. In some cases, over 70. If someone listens to my music, it's not one thing. I got songs like a marching band on there. I got R&B love songs. I have songs that sound like wedding songs. I got straight up jazz, old school jazz. I just write what I feel, and I enjoy that. I've been blessed by it.
Hi, my name is Vera Bolden, and Marvin and I have a long relationship. We started shortly after he got out of college. We had a band. It was called Images and Infinity, and it was more like an orchestra. We had so many members in the band that we really couldn't get paid any money. But Marvin was one of the keyboard players, and eventually all of us broke off and started our own groups. And down the road, I started teaching with Marvin at King Middle School, and that was a great experience. He was a wonderful, wonderful band director, and aside from that, he was just the sweetest person ever to work with. Just always, always a gentleman, always a kind word, always a smile.
Like Marvin told me the other day, he said you were being shy, but you get up there on that mic and just blow it all away. So, and I just got used to doing it, and I fell in love with it. I love him and was glad to be a part of it. I would say I learned a lot from Marvin, and I'm glad the things that he wanted to see from us and things he tried to push out of me, I'm glad he pulled that out, because that has helped me over the years.
So what Marvin got out of us, and I'll never forget it. And we had our first gig at Off-Broadway on the South Side. We stood up and sang at the mic. We had all the people that came to hear us. Marvin was telling us, take the mics off of the stand. We just wanted to sing at the mic, sing, and then back up when we're done. No, y'all got to perform. Okay, now they got to come off these mics. So I will credit Marvin as being a lead singer. Take the mic off and hit it.
It was so refreshing playing with Marvin, because it was original music, but it was also not what you would expect the original music to be at the time. It was still smooth jazz, and I was so used to playing R&B or hip hop. Probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, really. I was trying to pick up a tune, and I wasn't quite catching it fast enough. And when I finally did get it, the rhythm of it was slightly different from what was on the record. And someone said, hey, and Marvin just stopped him. And he said, hey, let him play. That was just one of those defining moments where it just gave me the chance to just figure it out. I guess that's why I would say it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. It blows my mind every single time how many lives he's touched with music.
Marvin is very professional. So I was in the youth young adult choir, and we wanted some upbeat, some newness to our choir. Marvin brought that back then. He brought the coolness. You couldn't tell us anything. We got new robes and everything. And we enjoyed it. We enjoyed his personality. So from there, he asked me to be a part of his, I don't know if it was his first CD or somewhere in that line. And it was an honor. I had never been asked to do anything like that, because I was the church girl that went to church. So we did some fun things. We sang in a club, and that was my first time in life doing that. So great experiences with this gentleman here, and we've been friends ever since.
We grew up across the street from each other in Centerville, Illinois. So I've known him all my life. He's a great guy, and I played trumpet. He played saxophone. Sometimes we practiced together. Ooh, he was mean. He was mean on the saxophone. He played piano at the time too, but he was mean on the saxophone, and he knew his business when it came to the sax. So, as being part of the band, he knew how to direct the band. The whole experience of leaving home and going to New York City and doing that, I owe it to Marvin.
One of the songs, it's called Sweet Thing. The wives were listening to a track, that we had done earlier in the day. My wife called the two of us over, and she said, have you two thought about the title of the song and your mom? And, we didn't really kind of see the connection. And she said, do you remember that your mom, her most normal, natural, most frequently used greeting when she met people was, hey, sweet thing, how you doing? Sweet thing, how are you this morning? Sweet, and it just, I can remember it pretty close to put both of us in tears, because our mom had passed. And so to just think that her two younger, her knee baby and her baby boy was sitting up in a recording studio together, and Marvin had written this song years earlier, and he had never put it on any of the previous CDs. And so it was a pretty special moment for us, and then later for the entire family.
So he has really influenced me just to embrace Andrew Bethany and the Drew Project, That's the name of my, and no shameless plug here, but that's the name of my band, the Drew Project.
You wouldn't be an artist if you weren't plugging yourself, please.
Andrew has an awesome voice.
When your legs don't work like they used to before, and I can't sweep you off of your feet, will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheek? But me, I'm falling. Place your head on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud, yeah. 'Cause baby, we found love right where we are.
The last 5 years, I worked with Marvin over at Lincoln Middle School. We became very close over the years, and especially, like I said, the last 5 years we worked a lot together because we, like I said, almost 200 kids in the band. You know, you had to be close. You know, my eyes watching and his eyes watching. They can't sneak and do anything in the band. You know, like chew gum or things like that, talking on the telephone. So.
When you came to Greater Mount Carmel, what was that like in working with Reverend Nance?
It was like a dream come true because it was a big choir. Most churches had maybe 3 or 4 or 5 soloists. They had maybe 12, 15 different people that if they sung, everyone felt the spirit. And it was just beautiful. I mean,
could you describe who Marvin is and what he means to your congregation?
Well, of course, Marvin is a dedicated professional musician. He's very versatile. He can fit in for any occasion. He loves the Lord. He loves the music, and he has a passion for it. And he plays like that. And the people hear that, they see that in him, and they love him for it.
What was it that helped you make the decision to hire him?
His professionalism. And the fact that we were in need is like the Lord just sent him. He was ready to move on from where he was when I had the massive heart attack. And people didn't think I was going to recover. On one of those concerts after I did recover, he dedicated the proceeds of his concert to me, help me pay my bills.
Oh, wow.
Can't forget that.
That speaks volumes. Obviously, there's a relationship, a rapport that the two of you have. And it extends beyond the music.
Well, listen, we're not always in each other's faces, but we're close enough.
I'm interested to know about the music videos.
St. Louis Bounce, that was a song that I had to reach deep inside because I lost my mother tragically in 2011. And of course I was way down, and I don't know, I was just downstairs practicing, and the Spirit just kind of put on me, hey, you gotta uplift yourself, and you need to uplift others because others have gone through these tragedies that you've gone through, and you need to, you need something. And honestly, bounce. It's like bounce. It's kind of, it's like that's not making sense. Yeah, bounce.
In the farm with us doing the St. Louis bounce. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey,
soccer. And I'm always telling my family, my wife and daughter, hey, about the bounce and this and this, like St. Louis bounce. I said, yeah, happiness and people doing things together, family. A partnership with Daryl and Patrice, my male and female vocalists, and I said, hey, I got this idea of the song and St. Louis bounce, and I got the music.
St. Louis. Bounce, bounce, bounce around. We gon' bounce it out with the St. Louis bounce. Bounce, bounce around. We gon' bounce it out through the St. Louis.
They came up with the words and melody, and we collaborated on it, and that's how the bounce came up from Godson Jay Ship doing the rap on it. And we just had a great time. It's talking about, all the places around St. Louis that are positive.
Scream it out, we got the St. Louis bounce. Games reunions, bringing it to you.
And what's it like working with Marvin?
Oh, it's been great. It's been having a real good time, and you know, different styles of music, and you know, different places we've been, you know, performing together, and it's been a good experience. Yeah, you know, it's just a warm feeling, family feeling with everybody. He brings fun with it, and it, you know, a good experience with and introducing you to different genres and style of everything. And you know, he's a great musician, and he works with great musicians.
I just thought he was always just a really wonderful person, and he seemed to be open to the things we worked on, which we worked on the jazz language and worked towards improvisation skills. That's what music is all about. I know that his skill level always increased and grew, and I guess he wouldn't be putting out these shows if it weren't so.
When you work with Marvin, I mean, he just makes it fun, he's genuine, and he's real. That's my big brother. He always had my back, and I always had his back. Kind, passionate, inspired me and taught me a lot. Back in the day, where we played out all night long. I mean, I was telling some coworkers this the other day how the sun would be coming up, and we just not getting home. I just have enough time. Well, both of us, because he was teaching too, you know, teaching then, and it'd just be enough time to go home, put your equipment up, take a shower, and go to work.
And go to work.
But we was young then. We'd die now. I don't know about Martin, but I couldn't do that now. So I knew I'll pass out, you know, so I couldn't do that now. So.
Fermata Entertainment is the name of the company. Yes. And how did you get started?
We were trying to achieve getting Marvin's music out there in St. Louis. I got on the phone and called up, you know, my partners here, and we started talking, and we decided to have a meeting at the house to, you know, come up with all of our brainstorm on different things. So we sat here and we talked about and we brainstormed. And I don't know, was it you, Monica, or Joanne? One of us came up with the idea. Well, we can promote them. Yeah, we can promote them ourselves. We can have our own our own company organization. We looked at each other's skills. She was good with marketing. She was an event planner, and I guess I looked at myself as being what, the organizer.
They were blown away. We sold tickets the first night of the first concert at the Bistro, and how much fun and excitement there was in the air. And you know, we're walking around grinning at each other. You know, we actually did this. We pulled it off.
The beauty of Fermata, it gave us the opportunity to not just showcase Marvin, but also all of the other talented musicians in St. Louis. So that was really the main purpose, was to get his music out there, but it had a dual purpose. It was also to help other musicians in the St. Louis also be known and recognized. So Fermata, each year, Marvin would highlight certain musicians and have them come in and play with him. He had his core band, he had his core band members, but he also invited other outstanding, and I mean outstanding musicians and vocalists to come in to sing and play as well.
What made you think you could promote a concert? You had no skill at that.
To be honest, but we just went with God. I'm gonna tell you the truth. We prayed about it and said, okay, Lord, we turn this over to you. We all are talented people. We all bring different skills and talents to the table. If it's your will, we're gonna do this.
I believe that the fact that we didn't know any better, to our advantage. We didn't know what we were facing until we got into it. So we set our minds to it and decided, okay, where do we start? One specific concert where the energy level was so high, and we're back there, we're hostesses and running around behind the scenes, and it was like we stopped for a moment and became spectators. We were all, just clapping and enjoying the music, and the audience was just on fire that night.
Any concerts stand out to you? And then I'll have to ask you about the songs.
I have 2 concerts. The first one is the first concert at the Bistro, 2004. And it's because not only my husband, my daughter. So that stood out a lot to me, you know, to see her actually up there performing with her dad. And she didn't know it, but that was always a dream of his.
Maria, what was that like? The opportunity to actually perform with your dad?
It was exciting. I was definitely nervous. I think, was I 11?
11 years old.
11 before I turned 12. And so to be on stage and performing and the band practice, I had a lot of fun.
Did you see him as a teacher or your bandmate?
Well, definitely still my dad
first.
And not wanting to disappoint him, but at that point I was part of the band, so that felt nice.
Energy. He is just motivated with music.
Yeah.
And then one thing I want to say that I love about him is that he's humble. He is very humble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just to have that type of gift from God and still be humble with it and still be caring and want to share, is that I couldn't ask for any better husband.
Oh my, we're gonna end on that note.
Our World was a serious song, you know, about things, about what's going on in the world.
And then Our World, my daughter came to me, had come to me a year earlier, and I just kind of pushed the song off. She said, "Dad, there's so many negative things going on. You need to write a song about what's going on and how we can make a change." And I eventually listened to her because I always listen to her, and it's like, in this case, let me get busy. So I'm downstairs practicing, putting chords together, and led by the Spirit, and things came together. I said, "Maria, let's get together and let's work on a chorus." And we got together. This is our world. It's time to make a change. Time's up. No more standing still. And so, okay, now it's time to write a verse. It's like, oh boy, because I'm not good with that. But I wrote the music for a verse, and while I'm downstairs, not knowing that the music is rising up, my wife is upstairs, and in between her studying for school, she's writing words about what's going on in the world and everything. So after a few weeks, I came upstairs after being downstairs practicing, and she said, "I want you to listen to this." And she laid the words on me, and I was just blown away.
Marvin presented me with this opportunity to be the vocalist for this song that was really touching to him and his wife. She wrote the song. I was overwhelmed because I was hoping that I was able to bring out the message in the song, because it's a very strong message about things that are happening in our world today, and it's very, very real.
We all need to be together. It's not young people and older people in between, but society, we have to be together.
We bounce around, gotta move the crowd. St. Louis is where we're found. Oh yes, and we the best, just put us to the test. The beat is so loud, it's like we're living in your chest. I said do your dance, but I'm kinda not impressed. If you ain't doing the bounce, you need to put that dance to rest. Why? Because we bounce around from town to town. Everybody just get on down. And we at the ball game, starting up a bounce train. When I get a signal, everybody just clown. Because we bounce, bounce, bounce around. We gon' bounce it out.